Okay, so first, if anyone's new to PureLink on the call, we've been around for 23 years and counting as innovators in new product engineering. That's actually the foundation of PureLink is engineers solving problems all the way back to HDCP, key management, and digital distribution. If anyone was doing this back in 2002, you remember the headaches that you had to deal with, even trusting a piece of fiber cable. PureLink broke the mold there and was able to produce reliable digital video fiber transports, the first in the industry. So many other industry firsts. I'll let you read these on your own so we can get to the meat of our session today, which most importantly is innovations for 2025. So we're going to start out with our newest camera in the lineup. Actually, it's not the newest, it's the second newest. I'm going to show you the newest right after this. But as in terms of PTZ pro grade cameras, where you can use them not only in huddle rooms or conference rooms, but you can use them in live presentation, follow presenter scenarios such as House of Worship or auditoriums and so on for live broadcast is our Cam 200, which is PoE powered with the option of a local power adapter, so you can power it either way, but it does support NDI HX2, and it has really impressive optics on it. The 20x optical zoom covers a vast majority of applications, especially rooms with deep viewing area. So if you need to get talking head shots from far away, this camera does a great job of that. And then on top of that, you add 16x digital zoom, which becomes a multiplier to the 20x. And you can throttle the digital zoom. So for example, if you choose to use only 2x digital zoom, you now have 40x total zoom capability, which is pretty significant, and the impact to the image quality is virtually unnoticeable. So you get quite a zoom range with utilizing extremely small amounts of digital zoom to enhance the optical zoom. The next thing you'll see is a long list of outputs. So it's a very flexible camera, and many of these outputs work simultaneously. So I can have USB 3.0 into a desktop or laptop. This would allow me to use this camera with Zoom or Teams, Google Meet, and GoToMeeting, and so on. You can also come out HDMI for any number of applications, and of course 3G SDI, commonly used in broadcast. We can also stream the outputs, so you have RTSP and RTMP streaming outputs, as well as NDI HX2 output. And when you use the streaming outputs, you can utilize the audio input to embed audio with the video, and that's for only any of the streaming output formats. We covered the optics, but just reinforcing, these are really high performance optics, and we invite you to, put this camera head to head with top names in presentation broadcast. So Sony, JVC, many other Blackmagic, and so on. This camera does a incredible job against those names at very attractive price point. So we'll talk about it at the end, but we have a program called Test Drive where you can bring these products in for 30 days just to try them out and send them back. You're more than welcome to keep it. Of course, we'll charge you for it, but you can just utilize the test drive if you want to try out any product that we have. So as in terms of, professional grade, the pan tilt zoom mechanisms also are very high end and a variable speed. So if you're doing a follow presenter scenario, you can adjust the movement and the zoom of the camera to stay on pace with the presenter. And it does come with the remote shown, which allows you access to everything in the camera, from iris adjustment, zoom, pan, tilt, focus. You can get to the menus, make all the adjustments you need there. And it also allows you to create presets and call presets from the remote. And that remote will control up to 4 of the same camera if you're choosing to do infrared control. But the camera does support Visca and Pelco, so any brand of controller can control all of the aspects and setup of the camera. Okay, so that's the Cam 200. We're going to take a look at our Huddle Cam next. This is not yet launched. You guys are the first to see this, but the Huddle Cam 500 will be marketed at the end of this month. And we've been carrying the Cam 400, which you can see in previous webinars, but the Cam 500 will be replacing that. This is true 20 megapixel 4K camera chip. So it's the real deal, and it comes with high performance optics. And something that makes it unique in the market is that the lensing system is actually motorized pan tilt. So you got 15 degrees of pan and 10 degrees of tilt. So why did we do this? The reason why is when you rotate the chip and the optics, that allows you to frame your image utilizing the maximum amount of the chip, as opposed to our competitors who do electronic pan and tilt, which means they're only capturing a part of the chip resolution when they frame their image. So it does improve the utilizing as much resolution of the chip as possible. We do have electronic zoom, so there are cases where you will use part of the chip, but it's still more than if you were doing both electronic pan tilt and electronic zoom. So in this case, we're doing actual physical movement of pan and tilt. So you got 110 degree field of view. This works very well in short throw situations. So huddle rooms are smaller conference rooms. So you're looking at about 5 or 6 meters that this camera will be effective. The next feature set here is, while you have manual capability, as you see on the remote, of pan, tilt, zoom, you can do auto tracking. So auto framing, it's basically whoever's speaking, it will pan and zoom in on the speaker. If there's more than one speaker, it will capture the conversation. So if they're talking back and forth, it will frame to that conversation. And then a feature in the 500 that was not in the 400 is what's called Smart Gallery, where if you have a conference table and there's 3 or 4 people sitting at that conference table, as an example, the display will show the faces of each of those. So it'll cut up the display area on your monitor, or the output, I should say, and it'll show each individual person in the room, whether or not they're speaking. So it's just showing everybody involved in the meeting, so you see them. Just very common to what you might see on Zoom or Teams, where you can see each person's camera view. In this case, it would be each person sitting at the table. So that's a very cool feature, and one of many reasons to request a test drive of this, because that's a very desired new function that I think you and your clients would find very useful. Okay, so other than that, it does have the extension microphone, and you can actually have up to 3 extension microphones spread across the conference room table. It does have USB-C output as well as HDMI output, and the camera also offers two RJ45s. The first one is actually to connect the additional microphone pucks that go on the conference table, but the other one is a LAN port that allows you control of the camera via Visca and also streaming output of the video and audio. So also very nice speaker bar in here. I would say high quality sound. It has a bass reflex in it. And of course the microphone array is not only to pick up the speakers in the room, but to auto track the camera. Okay, we do have our own icon control system driver for this product, as you would expect. And you also have the option of wireless bring your own device. So you can connect laptops or phones wirelessly to this camera. All right, so it's a pretty exciting new product. I would highly recommend taking a test drive on that. All right, let's take a look at the next product. The PS610. This is a very interesting 6x1 seamless presentation switcher. It has two USB-C inputs that have charging capability. So if you have two laptops hooked up USB-C, each of those 60 watts charging capability back to the laptop. So you can just plug in and not worry about the laptop running out of steam. And then we've got three more inputs on the main switch, HDMI, and again, all this is 4K 60, seamless switching. Then on the output side, we have one output bus, the HDMI out and the HD-base-T that goes to an included 4K 60 HD-base-T receiver that you see below. So as you can tell, it has a lot of features on it, the receiver, including an additional HDMI input, local. So it's common to put the receiver by the display. So if you have a source near that display, you can just hook it up directly there. So that gives you your sixth input. Okay, you have some audio management going on here. You've got balanced or unbalanced line input that you can select regardless of video input, your audio, and then you have an audio de-embed, balanced or unbalanced. You'll see both of those in the upper right of the back of the main switch. And on the receiver, you also have the ability to de-embed the main audio, balanced or unbalanced, on those 5-pin mini Phoenix connectors. Along with analog audio management, you have Dante. So I have the ability of sending the main output, 2 channels, to the Dante network through the Dante connector you'll see in the upper right of the back of the switch, or through that same connection, I can bring in 2 channels of Dante audio off the Dante network and embed that into my output signal. All right, so that's a very nice feature that ties it in conference rooms with codecs and amplifiers and mixers and so on, so you can interface easily with any Dante source or receiver. It also provides CEC control of your display. So those settings are available through the built-in web interface of the switch. And you'll notice some screen examples here of the multi-view capability of this switch. So I can either just show one of the inputs, or I can show up to 4. So I can do picture-in-picture, picture side-by-side. I can show 3 of the 6 inputs simultaneously, or 4 in any of the configurations shown. You can control this switch either with the infrared remote or over LAN or RS-232. And of course, our icon control automation system already has a driver ready for that. The command API is quite simple, so if you need support creating drivers for other control platforms, we're more than happy to help work on that with you. All right, next one up, very nice new product, is our Hue 100. And this is a 2x1 switcher and extender. So it has the transmitters, the bottom left picture, front and back. So the inputs are HDMI and USB-C. Those are 4K 60 inputs, and you can switch those inputs through the front panel. There's a select button on the front there with LED indicators which input is being currently selected. And as you can tell, you also have USB 2.0 devices that can be extended as well to the receiver. You can also extend RS-232 infrared, and you've got audio insertion and extraction available. Now this is HDBaseT 3.0 extension, so I can go 100 meters 4K 60, but if I'm only using 1080p 60 signal, I can go an additional 50 meters. So very cool product for either extension or switching extension, and in many cases it might be all you need in a huddle room environment. All right, so we're going to look at a different type of product next. This is a streaming encoder. This is our VIP Stream 200, and this is a very interesting product because it takes any HDMI source, anything that has an HDMI output, and converts it to a stream that can be streamed to endless number of endpoints and can reach anywhere in the world because it streams out common formats that are used in YouTube, Facebook, and many other applications, Vimeo, and I'm sure others you can think of, but it allows you to broadcast to countless viewers. So it's an important way to look at it because it gives you a chance to think about all the applications. House of Worship is an easy one because you might stream a service to people in the hospital or at home or who can't get out of the house. You can also broadcast. So maybe somebody with a small business, trying to promote their product on YouTube or Facebook, they can hook up, a little broadcast switch with a camera and lapel mic or whatever, many variations of that example, and sell their product on those platforms. Another one is fitness. So we've got, for example, martial arts that use these to broadcast their training classes to those who can't make it for some given reason. They're traveling or things of that nature. So they stream with this. And there's also the option of not streaming all over the world, but maybe streaming within a venue. So real applications this is used in is large venue distribution. You might have digital signage that you're trying to show all around a stadium or an arena, or you might be showing a live feed of a game that's going on in that arena to the restaurants or so on that are in that venue. There's also entertainment facilities that may use that to broadcast different content around the entertainment facility. And there's hotel, hospitality, retail. There's many, many applications for this product. All right, so we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to take a look at some of the Dante stuff that we've got going on. We're starting the new year with this Dante amplifier, and it's not just Dante, but that's a driving element of this product, is that it can take in 2 channels of Dante audio, and it's got quite a number of output options, anywhere from 4 8-ohm speaker systems to 70 volt, 100 volt speaker systems. So it really covers, every possible application for sound reinforcement in a scenario such as huddle rooms, presentation, auditoriums, small venue. And it does accept a balanced, unbalanced line input. So you could use it that way, which has been going on for a long time. And it also offers line out. So I can take whatever audio in that's sent here, and I can take that line out for many, many different reasons. One might be stacking these units if you're not using Dante, but you might have confidence monitoring going on through a mixing system. So there's a lot of applications. But last but not least, it does have onboard DSP. So this is an important element if you're bringing in non-processed Dante audio or analog audio, and you need to put mixing, compression, gating, whatever onto the signal. You've got that built into the unit. So it's a really very complete amplification product for many different applications, anywhere from small rooms to, as I mentioned already, to auditoriums and so on. Okay, so take a look at that. Products that it couples well with, of course, is these Dante dongles. You've got USB to 2-channel input and 2-channel output. So very commonly used with laptops to take the audio out onto the Dante network and bring audio from the Dante network into your laptop. And then in professional environments, we use XLR analog connectivity. We have both Dante to XLR out and XLR into Dante dongles. In installation, we've got a number of different IO size DSP processors and, of course, analog to Dante converters, and Dante to analog converters. So this 0404 provides 4 channels of Dante to converted to analog and 4 channels of analog converted to Dante. So it's an interface in that way. Plus you also have the USB connectivity, 2-channel bidirectional Dante on the USB connector. And then you've got DSP. So I can do, as you can see, compression, gating, equalization, 10 amp adjustments, mixing. So it's full-fledged DSP. And it does actually offer additional channels of DSP for Dante that is not being converted. So if you just have Dante audio coming into the network and you just want to process it but leave it on the network, you can do that as well. The next 2 products are just variations of this product as in terms of the quantity of conversion. So the 0808 now just offers 8 channels of Dante to analog and analog to Dante. And then the next one is 16. So I can do 16 channels Dante to analog and analog to Dante. Okay, so that covers the Dante offerings. Again, number of Dante specific products. And as you saw, the PS610 has integrated Dante. We're not showing it here because it's not new, but our Pure Media and Media Access flagship cross-platform matrix routers incorporate Dante. And those are classes worth going to, or you can go on our website and look at them. But just as an example, the Max 2, we have a number of frames that support a massive amount of Dante I/O. For example, the Max 2 72 has 72 Dante to analog inputs and analog to Dante outputs, 72 of those. So that's quite a lot of Dante. All right, so let's take a look at the next category of product, which is our Icon Control Automation System, which has won awards for its incredible ease in which you can program these products. They use a language called Easy, which is mostly mouse clicks, but also English language programming with context-sensitive help and guides. So it's extremely simple to program. We'll get into that in a moment. But the other side of why Icon is getting so much attention is because the control panels that you see, the touch panels, are actually also controllers. If you look on the back, you'll see that they've got control connectivity. Per unit, there's different configurations of what control connections they have, but you don't necessarily need a black box like you see on the left. Depends on your system, what you'll ultimately need, but smaller rooms or simpler applications, you could get a touch panel that also doubles as your controller. So you're just buying one piece of gear and you're done. But because there are systems that may be more sophisticated or require more connectivity, we do offer add-on expanders and controllers with a lot more capability on them. So the icon design is to minimize SKUs at the same time covering every application you can think of in control automation. So you can mix and match these. You can have 10-inch touch panels, 4-inch touch panels, keypads, expanders, master controllers. You can have all of it, or you can just have one of these pieces. Okay, so there's one of our awards for us to brag about. So like I said, this slide, which you'll see when you get the presentation, it's just telling you that Easy Control brings to the industry simple mouse clicks to a program, as well as just English language. You don't have to understand deep levels of programming languages. And this covers, again, in writing what I've already gone over. The one thing this slide tells you I haven't mentioned yet is that you do have an option to also write in Java. We do that for a couple of reasons. One reason being that it's one of the top 5 programming languages in the world. So if you do have in your organization a programmer for control automation, it's very likely he already knows Java, and he may want to write in Java, even though we have the easy language. When somebody's familiar with a language like that, they're actually quite proficient and fast at it. So we want to offer the option. So that's there. We do have a driver database. We approach it in a way that we feel is a little more easy in the real world. We can write the drivers, you can write the drivers can be written on site, you can share them in your team, we can share ours with you, you can share yours with us, and they're not difficult to write. That, for those who have ever done, QSys or Crestron or AMX or Extron, that's music to your ears. It's really much simpler to write drivers for our platform, which means saving time. So all of this saves time and money, because the easier something is to do, the less training time you need, so less time spent getting up to speed and less time actually writing the program. And then also you can save whatever code you write, your user interface templates, and you can reuse that, and that saves time. And that all means less investment. And the fact that the touch panel is also the controller is also a cost savings as well. So I'll kind of breeze through these because, for one, you'll have this presentation at the end. 2, you can always get these on the test drive program. And 3, we heavily stand by you to teach you everything about these and how to program them. And you'll find within a day you'll be writing programs. So the first one up is our 4-inch double gang touch panel. So again, this mounts right into a 2-gang panel. It's powered by PoE. It is a controller, so you can program the touch panel to look any way you want. This is just one example of millions that you could do, but we're just showing a small conference room with presets on the right that would switch your inputs and change lighting and audio and all that. So it can do anything you need. You can do these programming methods through either manual interaction, like you see these buttons on here. You can do them through temporal events, time-based, or you can do them conditional. If something occurs in the system, do something. So those are really the only 3 control events you can have, an icon is able to do any of them. You can create buttons any way you want, like the buttons on the left on that screen started out looking like the buttons on the right, and we just replaced them with icons, and that's very, very easy to do. And you can save all that and reuse it over and over again. So you can quickly, once you get kind of a baseline look that's common to the applications you do, you can build them faster. So while the T4W is its own touch panel and controller, let's say you have more than LAN devices and RS-485 or 232 devices in the system, and you need more types of control interfaces, maybe contact closure or infrared, then what you can do is use the T4W just as the user interface for the C8 master controller, which we'll show you in a moment. Another option you have is to use the E4 expander as additional I/O to the T4W, leaving the T4W as your controller. And I'll show you that in a moment as well. The K10D is a tactile 10-button keypad with push-button rotary dial. All of this is programmable. We give you lots of inserts for these buttons. Of course, these types of buttons have been around for decades, so you can get inserts made custom as you need. The buttons have two backlight options, white or green, so you can show some different states, and that lighting for those buttons is completely programmable, so you can have them blink or oscillate or whatever you want to do. On the back, the K10D has a little more built-in control. You see two COM ports, two relay ports, infrared, and you got digital I/O and LAN, of course. And the touch panel is 2-gang, and it is powered by PoE. It does give you the option to use a local power adapter if you want to do that or need to do that. But ultimately, it is a interface and a controller, but can also be the interface for a C8 controller. The next one up is the T10. This is basically the same as a T4W, but it's 10-inch, not 4-inch, and this is a tabletop version. You see the kickstand there. So I can put this on a tabletop, and we also offer it in a wall mount, and the wall mount version comes with the gang box. So it is a custom sized gang box, but it does fit between two studs that are 12 inches apart, because I think the gang box, I'm just giving you a rough number, but it's around 8.5 or 9 inches wide. So it fits easily between two wall studs. Again, all the same things, it can be the controller, it can be the interface for the C8, and you can add an E4, and you can add multiple E4s, by the way, to any of them. You still don't know what the E4 is. I'm about to show you that after I show you the C8. So the C8 is what we call the master controller. It is a controller that serves out interfaces to multiple touch panels. So let's say I've got an application where I need 5 T10s and 6 T4Ws. I can serve pages to all 9 of those units that are different. So all those touch panels will have their own unique interface. So if I've got the conference room and a huddle room and a breakout room and a lobby and maybe an admin touch panel or so on, and multiple conference rooms, I can use this C8 to control all of them using all these different touch panels. And there'll also be options for wireless tablets. Now you'll have to use a wireless router connected to the network that the C8 is connected to, but I can create pages that can be brought up on common OS wireless tablets. So you see a lot of connectivity on the back. It's listed at the top there, but I also can use the E4 expander with this as well. So let's take a look at that product. So the E4 is not a controller and it's not an interface. It's just an I/O module that allows additional connectivity for everything that we've already looked at. So T4Ws, T10s, T10Ws, K10Ts, C8s all can use the E4 to add additional I/O. So a practical application that you might do that is maybe you've got multiple conference rooms with, let's say, projector lists and projectors. So you might need relay control, or maybe you got screens, motorized screens as well. So I can operate the projector lift, the screen, and then send RS-232 to the projectors. Or maybe I got cameras, and that'd be RS-485, and I need to control presets or pan, tilt, zoom on those cameras. So I can put an E4 in each one of these conference rooms that all tie back to any of the other products, the T4W, K10D, the T10, T10W, or C8. So how many of these expanders can you have? Well, the answer is how many IP addresses are unused on your network. So you can have hundreds of these throughout a building, all tying back to one of our controller products. All right, we'll just take a little preview of the programming environment. This is like 1/100th of what we show you in the Icon Easy Control programming, but this is just to give you an idea of how the coding occurs. Again, you'll learn this very fast, the whole thing, how to create the user interface and save the templates and so on. But as in terms of the programming, this is an example of setting somebody pressing input 1 on the touch panel. And the proper way, you can write your program so that the input 1 button just highlights because you touch it, but you really want the touch panel to indicate the state of the system when the device confirms that it's set to input 1. Because maybe, as an example, somebody went up to the device and changed the input, not changed it on the touch panel. So you want the touch panel to react to the actual state of the switch in this example. So what's happening here is you see a line called condition. So this is conditional events. If the matrix switch confirms its setting by sending out a string that says, hey, somebody set me to HDMI 1, however they did that. So Icon is testing for that. And if that condition is true, switch is set to HDMI 1, then it updates the properties of the touch panel. So in this case, it's saying set the input HDMI 1 button to active. So buttons typically have at least 2 states, an active and a normal. So you get to actually decide what those 2 states look like. So normal might, be a certain size or a certain icon or a certain color, certain text, and active would be different so that the 2 look different to the viewer so that it's obvious to them the state of an input. So here it's saying change the status of the input 1 button to active. So however you programmed that active look, that button will now display it that way. And of course, all the other inputs should not look active. So those styles are changed if that condition is true. So it's very, as you can see, you can read that. What you don't see in this example is that I'm actually using a mouse to select that I'm doing a conditional statement and that I'm doing a style control and I'm picking status and which button. So please come to this class and you'll see this is, I even found people going, is that it? That's all I have to do? It's very easy. Okay, so this is just, again, a very simple example. All right, we're going to skip this slide and go to test drive. So test drive is our program where anything I've shown you and everything we have that I haven't shown you is available for you to bring into your own lab, put your fingers on and plug your devices into and try it and be able to prove to yourself these products are what you need, and they're a high pedigree, they're reliable products, and they're well made. So we want you to do this because there's no better confidence to achieve than in your own hands. So please don't hesitate. Once we're done, contact us and go, I want this, or I want that, or I want a bunch of things, and we'll send them to you. The next thing is we've got a number of ways to keep in touch with us. I actually don't show it here, but if you go to our website, PureLink'sAV.com, as soon as you go to it, it asks you if you want to sign up for our email newsletter. And that is one of the best ways to stay in touch with us, because we send a little newsletter email every week. It tells you some news that's going on. I'd say the second best way is LinkedIn. I'm sure all of you have LinkedIn, and we publish stuff on there every week. Then, of course, X and Facebook and Instagram, we hit those as well. And we have our own YouTube channel where you can watch videos. These videos are in different formats. Some of them are just like sales overview videos of products, and some of them are training videos, anywhere from 10-minute long training videos in a series to, short 2-minute videos, how to do simple functions all broken up into just what you need. Okay, so that's it. I will tell you that the Huddle Camp 500, which officially hasn't been announced yet, and you guys got to hear about it, is just moments away. There are some other products that are going to be coming out that weren't ready for today that you'll hear about real soon. So please keep an eye out for that. We don't just bring out products in January and then do nothing the rest of the year. We typically come out with stuff just about every month. So stay tuned for that, because there, as you would expect me to say, there's a lot of cool things coming. And we're working on some packaged products as well. So if you're doing huddle rooms and conference rooms, house of worship, things like that, we're putting together single SKU packages that I think you're going to find very interesting, because they're targeted to those applications. All right, so thanks for your time. Take advantage of our test drive. Sign up for our news in any format you'd like. This is contact information for you guys. Our sales at PureLink AV. My name is Keith Frey, Keith at PureLink'sAV.com, and that's our phone number, so you can reach out to us anytime. Okay, so again, I'll stay on for a little bit. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next sessions, or email me and I'll help you in any way I can with whatever you're working on. Thanks again, everybody.